Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show on this Tuesday, the 15th of February, 2022. Thank you for tuning in. I'm glad to have you guys here. Now, 2 years ago, I forecast what's happening right now. I've been right on the money about the inflation coming. 2 years ago, I forecast this inflation we're having right now coming. But I did believe that the inflation would be quite a bit hotter or worse than it actually is. It's not as bad as I thought it would be, because now we're in it. That was 2 years ago. I forecast it. Now we're in it, and I can see it's not as severe. It's running right around 15%, the real rate of inflation right now, by older metrics where they used to count inflation. Back in the 1980s and stuff. The official is about 7%. I think it is. What is it? 7.2 or something like that. But back when I forecast this inflation coming, we were under 2% inflation. And so I hit it right on the money, but I also forecast that later there would be a hyperinflation coming. And that's what I'm forecasting right now. We are headed toward a hyperinflation. But first, before we get to the hyperinflation, we're going through this period where the Fed is trying to fight inflation. And what they're going to cause is going to be a decline in markets by trying to fight inflation. They're going to cause a decline in markets directly in front of us, because they're not going to stop until they cause a situation. The situation is going to be deflationary. Actually, they're going to cause a little bit of disinflation within the system before this ends. And then the markets start to go the other way again. And that's going to be what's called a Fed pivot. They're going to change direction, their monetary policy again. But they're not going to do it until they get the markets falling out of bed. And everything's falling out of bed. The bubbles are starting to pop. Then they're going to change directions. But now there's another thing going on too out there right now. I told you guys about Ukraine and Russia and all that. I said, don't hold your breath waiting for Putin to attack, is what I said a couple weeks ago. Now we hear words about a pullout, a pullback, and everybody's breathing a collective sigh of relief, except for a certain number of people out there here in the West who are probably rooting for Putin to go in because they make a lot of money. It's all about money. And now they see the dollar signs aren't in their eyes anymore. And these are people that, well, there's a lot of them out there. You'd be surprised. They have different reasons why they probably wanted that to happen in the West. But this is evidence of how sick our society is over here. And one of the reasons why I tend to disbelieve that Putin would attack Ukraine or the Chinese would attack Taiwan is the fact that they have intelligence communities over there, both Russia and China. And it cannot slip their attention that the West is crumbling and getting ready to fall apart, in fact. And it's because we got a problem with our money. And all they really have to do, China and Russia, is sit over there and wait. Wait for our demise. And it's bigger than anybody could ever imagine, our demise, because our demise is rooted in our money. It's rooted in our money. Our money all over here, all of our money that we call money, in every country in the West, is part of a greater Ponzi scheme. And it's reaching the end, the culmination of the Ponzi scheme, which is going to collapse our society. And all Russia and China have to do is wait. So I thought to myself, hey, if they're smart, all they'll do is just wait. Wait until we collapse on our own. We just all nothing, and then they can do whatever they want, practically. We wouldn't even have the money to hire troops. They don't work for free. And they certainly don't work for a currency that's not functioning anymore because it's hyperinflated. So I have my skepticism about Russia coming in and invading Ukraine, but There's been a couple things that have happened in the last few days that's made me sit up and take notice, made me sit up and take attention. And one of the things that's made me sit up and take attention is the fact that Putin's got a $100 million yacht parked in Germany, or at least he did have it parked in Germany. And it was there having some repairs done in a German port. Now, this is just a few days ago. Putin had his yacht removed, and the repairs weren't even completed, and he hauled it out and took it over into Russian territory again, where it would be safe. That's a bad sign that Putin could be planning something, some sort of an attack. Also, a second bad sign is, in my mind, is if there is a withdrawal, some sort of withdrawal of troops from the Ukrainian border, and it hasn't been verified, or if it's just maybe a movement of a couple tanks, you know, and we all breathe a collective sigh of relief, that could be a big nothing, but a maneuver to make us think that it's not going to happen. And in my mind, that could be a danger sign rather than a sign of collective relief. So this ain't over till it's over. This ain't over until the troops all withdraw. And it is a dangerous situation because preparations, these are preparations for war. So we're not completely out of the woods with this. I mean, for those of people who are saying, it's over, it's not, well, we'll have to wait and see. But my take on it is, I really don't think myself, I still stick by that. Don't really hold your breath waiting on this to happen. And for these defense contractors out there and everything who are like this morning crying in their coffee and everything, you know, that's sick. And they're probably, well, they are. That's sick. That's a sickness in the West. A lot of sick people out there. Warmongers and stuff. Don't they realize what mutual assured destruction means? For these ones out there, these neocons and stuff, don't they understand what it means? It means MAD, mutually assured destruction. Don't they realize the power? Maybe they should go on YouTube and watch a few of these tests that have happened in the past, you know, these nuclear tests, and just look at the raw power of a nuclear weapon and think about what it could do, or multiple, and then check up and find out how many there are out there aimed at. Russia's got aimed at us, and China's got aimed at Russia, and Russia's got aimed at China, and just take a look at these and all these different countries, how many they got aimed at one another, and think about the raw explosive energy of those things, and then start to contemplate that all the way back to the 1950s, it would have destroyed the world way back then. And look at how more capable the nuclear weapons are now. And start to think for a minute. Start to use your brain. Start to use your own cognitive function to realize that it would be a no-win situation for both sides. Absolutely, you cannot win the nuclear war. I mean, there's ones out there who believe, we'll do a first strike, we'll just scan in there, we'll get them, and then we'll own the world. You're idiots. There's no safe way of waging a World War III I'm talking about a hot World War III. There's no safe way of doing that. Sorry, you're crazy. Your thinking is not even logical. Anyway, let's just take a look here and get into the markets today. Let's open up the charts right here and take a look at what's going on. Silver price today is taking a big tumble, and that's because of what's happened. The silver price and gold price have taken a big tumble because of the war drums of not quite as loud as they were yesterday. Let's just say that. And it's connected to this issue, And we've seen quite a big tumble in silver down to 23.20, down 62 cents on the day. It's quite a large drop. Let's take a look at gold today. It's down $21.60 to 18.49. But still, they've made significant gains lately, and I don't think they're going to drop any further today. I think that's it. In fact, they might bounce back a little bit today, but they're still up from what they were. I mean, gold was hovering around 17 something, 1790 or what is it? And now it's 1849. So it is in a positive side still. Let's take a look at cryptos. Cryptos have been doing good. Get up here and take a look. I'm going to have to refresh the page. Almost $2 trillion, the industry, and we're looking at a Bitcoin price of 44,119. So it's hanging in there right now, cryptos is. Let's take a look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average today. And it's up 413 points on the news that Russia's withdrawing some troops. It's up 413 points on the day, or 1.2%. So now let's take a look at the crude oil. Now, this is a big mover today. It's down $4.31, which is a massive drop. It's down to $91.15. When we get a big drop in the crude oil price like this, at the pump, it doesn't reflect the big drop. At the pump, when you go to pump your gas. But by gosh, when the crude oil price goes up $4, like if the crude oil price goes up $4, you see gas go up 20 cents at the pump. But then when you see it go down $4, the gas stays up 20 cents at the pump. This is just one little piece of all the corruption that's in the system out there. Everybody's on the take, and they're trying to get as much as they can from everybody else. There's no love out there anymore. This is why we're living in a system right now that is crumbling and falling apart. And what we're going to do is we are going to see countries where despots rise to power in countries, or maybe some leaders. The whole thing is, this is all part of the collapse of the Western civilization. And it's such a big collapse, when it starts to go down the whirlpool, it's going to take the East with it. And we're going to see very much troubles in the world as the currencies start to collapse. In fact, I'm going to tell you what, the troubles that we're seeing out there are all a symptom of what's going on in the financial system with the currencies and stuff. These are all symptoms. Wars, things like that. When everything is stable and good in the financial system, if you've got a good, strong, healthy financial system, you won't have wars and stuff. Wars are a result of these. Look at the instability they had in the financial system back during the 1930s, and what happened in the late 1930s and early 1940s. World War II. And your financial system is got an awful lot to do with wars starting up. People being hungry, well-fed, and have a stable system underneath them is more likely to lead to world stability and peace. And the greatest disservice ever done to us was the Fed come in and created this worldwide Ponzi scheme that we're running in now. And it's so rooted in the system now that you cannot get out of this worldwide Ponzi scheme and into something else without a giant crack up, without the system falling apart for a period of time. And that's what I'm forecasting on my channel. Basically, I can't tell you guys exactly when, but I don't see us getting out of this worldwide financial Ponzi scheme and into something else that's not a Ponzi scheme without several months of disruption probably at least 3 or 4 months of disruption. What I mean by disruption, I mean basically the world just fallen into chaos for a number of months while they restructure it. I don't see any other way of them getting out of it, because the money is part of everything. And if you suddenly create wealth, massive scale wealth transfers, while you readjust the system over into some sort of a new currency system or new money from the old money, the disruption that that'll cause will and the only way to actually do it without the disruption is to play it out over a 3, 4, 5 year period and do it slowly. And then you get a soft landing. But that's not the way it's going to happen. It's going to be a hard landing with this. When is it going to happen? I'm thinking it's probably about a year or two. Maybe it could be as much as 5 years away. So we're going to have to suffer through this this old monetary system dying for a while now, until it finally hits the rock bottom and we do get this change or this shift into a new monetary system. It's kind of like watching a person on Skid Row, and they're down and outer, one of these people who's never going to change until they hit rock bottom, and that's the way the system is right now. And we have to sit and watch and wait while it slowly slides down to rock bottom before we see this change that's going to occur. But we're not looking out 20 years from now or anything like that. It's going to play out in the next several years. And it ain't going to be pretty, though, when it happens, because it's going to lead to a collapse of the Western world. And that's what I'm saying. Russia's over in China over there. All they got to do is just sit and wait for this collapse, because it's coming. Just so it's taken a while to get here. Let me get on here and let me talk about the MOVE index today. And this is reflecting the credit markets. And when we see MOVE index moving over 100, it means our credit markets are not stable right now. It's been jumping up the last couple days, and this is significant. This is an indicator that the Fed watches very carefully. And we're seeing instability. The last time we seen the Fed react to this, I think it was like 160 or something. It went up to like 100, or it was 140. I can't remember. It went up suddenly. And that's what started all this repo madness, to try to bring this back down again and stabilize the credit markets. And when we see it go over 100, that's a sure signal that the credit markets are unstable right now. Bonds and rates today. Long end is rising yields. Short end is falling yields. We've got inversions all over the place now. We got a new inversion between the 10 and 7 year. Or at least we had it. It's went back now. I saw it last night, though, an inversion between the 10 and the 7 year. It was like 1 basis point is all. Now it's gone again. But let me see, the inversion between the 20 and 30 years still there. But we're starting to develop an inversion between the 10 and the 7 year. And we're looking at a 10 year at 2.02.8 and a 30 year at 2.34. This year's Super Bowl attracted more than 112 million viewers, up 14% from last year. So the Super Bowl's growing. Well, from what I understand, they put on quite a spectacular half-game show this year, from what I hear. It was great for the hip-hop youth. They loved it. But now, maybe the older generation, I almost said like me, it's not our bag, man, But, the youth probably just loved it. Okay, we're going to take a look now at the U.S. dollar index. It's sitting right on 96 today. And it is dropping today, but very slowly. But we're going to see a strong dollar until all this is settled. What I mean by that is until the Fed does their pivot. and they change direction. And then we're going to see the dollar, really the air come out of it. But not that fast, because most of what's being compared to is the euro, and the euro is a piece of crap as far as currencies. All of them are crap. The dollar is the best piece of crap. I shouldn't use the expression crap. Let's just say that we're at the glue factory. And, you know, in the old days, they used to send horses to the glue factory if they were like, had a swayed back or something was wrong with them, they're crippled or whatever. And they used to transform their hoofs in the glue. And so the dollar's the best horse at the glue factory. Anyway, thank you guys for listening to my show. Like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys in the very next episode. Bye-bye.